before we get to the video, with our favorite lispy sprite from Vox. It's ridiculous. It's bonkers. You're being given a free pass as a crappy writer because you're gay.
That center line on his little queer graph there. What is
well,
that
now
line?
the graph is queer? This is what Mr. Gay Vox wants to do. Mr. Lispy Queer from Vox. What were you holding, Gay Latino from Vox?
So tell me what the last 24 hours have been like for you.
Just a carnival of horrors. Like maybe the worst day of my life. In my gut, there was like this bullied gay teenager that thought, I have all the evidence, I've done my work, I exposed myself to the public, I've used YouTube policies and by the letter of those policies, and this has to work. Like, how could any decent human who says they care about queer people not react to this?
Nobody looks at you a hero.
And the white partner did it.
Just other races. I don't think nobody would. The whole force said, oh my God, he's against cops.
Well, they're very thin-skinned.
They're very thin-skinned. Y'all can't even accept realness. That's why I hate y'all. Y'all can't even be honest and say, damn, that man got a 16-year-old black son with an afro. He might get stopped for, no, we hate him, he doesn't support. Somebody shot, look, let's get him in the pit. Let's get him to the hospital school. You do this. Clear off that block. This is how they stand in East New York. This is how they stand in Browns.
It's summertime, they're going to show their muscles.
Calling out the violence of the racist police, and we ain't gonna stop till our people are free.
Fire Pantaleo! Fire Pantaleo! Pantaleo! Fire Pantaleo!
So just like you, what you want, you're fired too. Fire Pantaleo!
And it wasn't enough.
Well, let me ask you about the policies that they said, the rationale for not kicking Crowder off. And they told us this. They said, in videos flagged to YouTube, Crowder has not instructed his viewers to harass Maza on YouTube or any other platform. And the main point of these videos was not to harass or threaten, but rather to respond to the opinion. And they said that none of your personal information was ever revealed in content uploaded by Crowder. What do you say to that?
That's an insane policy, because it essentially means that the only way you can get kicked off YouTube is if you give my address and instruct millions of people to harass me. Abuse, there's a lot of abuse that happens before someone gives your address. And it doesn't matter if he ever encouraged his followers to harass me. He was doing it. That was the harm. A person with 4 million subscribers was calling me a lispy queer unsolicited in front of a massive audience, and I had to deal with the abuse that resulted as of that. YouTube is essentially saying that the price for participating in political discussions on YouTube is that you have to be willing to accept people criticizing you for being gay and for being Hispanic. That's an insane policy. YouTube knows it's insane. They know that this isn't something they're planning to enforce. They're making excuses to avoid doing the difficult thing, which is dealing with a monster that they spent years creating.
Hi, how are you? Well, thanks. Listen, I know we don't have an appointment. I know you guys are busy, but we would love if someone could just leave a message for lead of global product policy and active channels specialist. We just wanted to talk with them about their new guidelines.
Security for the building.
Okay.
We're not security for Google.
For Google? Okay.
Right.
Which floor is that?
Well, he's the head of Google security right there. You can talk to him about that.
Oh, okay. We're out there. You know, they have these new guidelines, I know, at YouTube and Google. If they would like to grab some time, I know they're busy, and discuss it. We'll be out here specifically kind of the new hate speech guidelines that people are a little iffy on. My name's Steven Crowder. I was part of a kind of a controversy recently, and just wanted to sit down and talk to them about it.
Do you mind if I see those names one more time?
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. Head of global product policy, and she's the active channel specialist.
Okay. I cannot promise that they're even here, but
okay.
I can see what I can do.
Okay.
I'll let them know that you're here if they are here.
Okay. If you can come back out and rally us some information whenever you get it, that'd be great. We'll just be right outside.
YouTube is looking at clear examples of abuse and saying it's not bad enough. And even though we might have the ability to post on YouTube and the ability to speak on these platforms, if there aren't policies to protect us from abuse, we don't have meaningful access to speech. It limits our ability to meaningfully participate on speech platforms. And that speech should be valued more than the speech of someone who's using the platform to call someone unsolicited a lispy queer for 2 years. That is not valuable speech. That's not worthy of protection.
Others' right to vehemently oppose what you're doing, by almost any means necessary. Maybe with force. You know, I'm not advocating violence.
You're not, but you said by almost any means necessary.
By almost any means, yeah. Things like that, I fully support combating by any means necessary.
And that means violence.
Yeah.
I am ready right now. I came down here. I have joined Obama. I have joined Facebook. I have joined Silicon Valley. I am a woman now. He's a bad son of a Steven Crowder is a right-wing extremist that needs to be silenced. Steven Crowder raped me. I don't have any proof, but he did it.
Note that something interesting happened here. Not only did nearly everyone find themselves ultimately agreeing with us on the idea of hate speech.
So actually, I agree with you.
I agree with that. People want that to be illegal. It's just someone's opinion.
Government shouldn't regulate it.
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
Well, I don't think we disagree on a whole lot.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Is there anything there with which you disagree?
Those tech companies are very sleazy.
Yes, they are.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
I agree, especially on the YouTube front.
How does being a patriot and trying to show pride in your country, how is that inappropriate?
Clovis North senior Maddie Mueller doesn't shy away from sharing her political views or wardrobe. She's a member of the Valley Patriots. The group asked their members to wear their MAGA hats on February 20th. Maddie was told she couldn't on campus, so she asked if she could wear any Trump hat with school colors on it, and she was told no, citing the dress code.
But more than ever before, people seemed legitimately concerned, and they really pressed us for some answers to these concerning questions. Since I had a legal expert with me, we decided to do something a little different and conduct an impromptu public Q&A session on hate speech in the current state of free speech online.
I have a question, actually.
Hit me.
With all of the opinions that I have on capitalism and everything, I wonder to myself, is it really in the wrong for a private company such as Google or YouTube to shut down a channel that they don't like, because it is a private company? So I wonder that sometimes. I mean, I don't want his channel to get shut down, but I also believe in capitalism, and if they don't like it, then they should, you know, be able to shut it down. So what do you say about that?
Well, that's directly on point with the topic, right? And the question is, I'll say two parts. One, what are the ability of companies to be able to take certain action, and then should they be able to take certain action? So right now, with private companies within their own private businesses and even within their own private platforms, as Stephen has always said, they have the ability to make certain restrictions. This is kind of the debate between publishers and platforms. Like, are you a content neutral provider like a telephone company, right? You're not going to go and say, oh, well, AT&T needs to be shut down, or their executives need to go to jail because someone was planning a murder over a telephone, right? But by the same token, these platforms have come in and decided that they want to actually do more, and they want to regulate the type of speech, which makes them kind of not being just content neutral like a telephone company or something like that. The separate question is, so generally they do. They have the right to be able to say these are the rules. I think for some of you who have followed the Vox issue recently, the big question is not does YouTube have the right to enforce certain rules, it's what are the dang rules, right? And that's something all creators, whether you like conservative views or you're against conservative views, you're pro-LGBT, you have questions about the LGBT movement, if there are no rules, that means they can be enforced against anyone. And that is one of the biggest questions and one that remains unanswered. So the second question is, should they, right? And for that, I would actually say the ACLU is one of the best organizations in terms of setting out why companies like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter should follow First Amendment restrictions. And the reason is because it stops chilling free speech.
To my knowledge, Trump is not a logo, it's a last name. It's just our president. You can't really claim that our president is a logo, a sports team. It's not affiliating with any gang.
The Clovis Unified School District dress code does not specify if political hats or shirts are allowed.
Bottom line for us, our dress code is really about allowing our kids to come to school, to feel safe at school, to feel supported at school, and to be free of distractions so they can focus on learning.
Here we are closer to the shouting fire in a crowded theater.
Former federal district judge Oliver Wanger says the students' First Amendment right is being stripped.
Like, if you really want to be a company that operates in a democracy that really values equality and the rights that we have in this country, then you should operate your policies in a way that is more like the First Amendment. And the First Amendment only has, at least how it's been articulated in this country, you only have certain things. The emergency principle. If there's a direct harm, a direct serious incident that's going to happen, something that's immediately going to happen, crying fire in a crowded movie theater when there is no fire, right? Directing someone to go and actually cause harm to someone else, that's already regulated. And we would say that that should continue to be regulated by social media platforms or really any company whatsoever. And then the second thing being whether or not it should be viewpoint neutral, what they want it to be, right? They haven't invested themselves in the time to decide how do we want to approach this, and they've kind of been forced to that question. And when forced to that question recently, they find that none of Steven's videos have violations.